Hello, everybody. This is Lord Demos here. As you see, I shaved and everything, so I look kind of different. But this week we're supposed to be talking about orcs, which I'm extremely excited on because it's one of my favorite things to think of. I have my own opinions on this. A lot of things are, if you hear noises, I'm sorry, that's my cats. For some reason, they decided to be very playful lately, so if you hear weird noises, it's my cats. So I'm sorry. But anyway, like I was saying, the orcs are something I've been thinking on for a long, long time, and have my own opinion based off what Tolkien has said and done with the books, and then also what they did with the movies. And to be fair, a lot of things can be opinionated, which is cool. Which is what one of the things that I like about the Tolkien stuff is a lot of things can be almost opinionated because there's no definitive information. For example, is the orcs. I mean, in the Hobbit series, in the books, they were mentioned as goblins, but Tolkien said he never really liked the term goblin. So when he wrote the Lord of the Rings and everything else, he turned them into orcs. To him, they were the same thing, same creatures and everything. There's no difference in them. He just changed the terminology, the name of them. And then they have the Orcs and everything. All these characters were all these same creatures. There's no difference in them. But in the movies, they changed that concept entirely. Because the hobbits have orcs and they have goblins. And then, and then in the Lord of the Rings, they had the freaking Orcs. And that's what I'm saying. There were so many different ways they did it. And you can say what you want and say, they just took liberties and everything. But to be fair, Tolkien never really specified where orcs come from also and what they were. Exactly. Of course, he told you what they were. They were monsters, people. They served the Dark Lords. They were almost animal-like beings, but they were a civilized monster, basically. The best way I can say it. But Tolkien said in multiple occasions that he never actually had a definitive source of where they came from. And what I mean by that, let me step back and tell you. I don't know if a lot of people know this, but Sauron was not the original Dark Lord. There was a being named Melkor or Morgoth, whatever name you want to use. It's the same person. But basically, think of him as their version of Lucifer. Okay, he was a being that betrayed and wanted power for itself. He was the most powerfulest of his kind. He was a Valar and a Mal and all that. And they were essentially angels, but just amped up. They were the archangel. These are the powerhouses. And he was like the biggest and powerfulest of them all. And he desired the flame of creation, which is only belonged to, I can never say the dude's name, Luvatar or something like that. I can never say it correctly. But their version of God was the only one who could create. So, using that information, when they came to Earth and they started doing all these things to Middle Earth, Malcor could not create things. He could only corrupt, twist, and breed things to his will. But he could not create. So all these evil creatures were deformed or corrupted into what they are. And that's where you get different ideas. Because Tolkien's he said at one time that they were creatures that already existed, that Malcor corrupted and turned to his side. And then other times he said, like on the movies, that they were once angels that was tortured and corrupted over time. And then there's other knowledge within the Tolkien universe that they were once men twisted and tortured to what they are now. But here's the thought process. Because there's so much information, and at the same time so little, that when they created the movies, they took some liberties. But here's the kicker. It works. And why I think it works is because I liked the movies. I thought they did. Yeah, the certain things were a little different from the books. I mean, I'm one of the few probably read all the books. I haven't read the Silmarillion and all the other stuff, but I have read The Hobbit and Lord of the Rings. And yeah, they took some liberties and changed some things on there and stuff like that. But all in all, they did really well. I mean, they did a lot of the characters big justice. But here's the thing. I thought they did excellent with the orcs and the goblins. And they actually showed you different versions. And it kind of fit every line. And what I mean by that, just roll with me for a minute. Like in The Hobbits, they show you the goblins. So in a way, they justified what Tolkien did without... Because Tolkien, like I said, Tolkien said there's no such thing as goblins. But in a way, they try to explain it so if someone read the book, they'd be like, what the hell is this? They're described as orcs and everything. So they created goblins. And they look like little fucking goblins. I mean, they're ugly as sin. And they're weird. But you know what? You liked it on level, but that's my point. They were goblins. Then you get the orcs, and there was different versions of them. Did you notice that? There was the regular version, then there's the Orcai, but there's another version that people didn't notice. They looked like the Orcai, but they weren't. They were like whiter or pinker, and to me, they were something else. And what I think, in my personal opinion, is there's 3 types of orcs in the entire series. And they have some legitimate claim to what Tolkien said. Some were elf-like. And I think that's what the ones where the Orcai, the stronger ones, were. And why I say that is because they were more magic inclined. They could sense each other. They could run in light better. They were more powerful. They were stronger. I mean, you think of an elf. Yes, you can say elves are not very strong, but they were quite powerful beings. They were magical. So if you corrupted something like that, you would get almost kind of like an opposite effect on it. And you think of what these Orcais look like and how they moved and everything. They were very similar, and they were smart. They were smarter than the regular orcs, which, I'll back up now, the regular orcs, I believe, have more human in them than the others. Because they were more fearful. They were more... they were kind of more dumber. They weren't very graceful. They weren't stronger. They were they were weaker. And you saw more of them than anything else. And think about the races they're all in Middle Earth. You see more humans than you see anything else. And that's how I look at it, is like they were more like human-like. The Orcais were more elf-like. They had, I mean, even... Yeah, you say, the other orcs have pointed ears, but if you look at the Orcais and look at the regular orcs, they are so much different than each other. And then there's the other ones. These are the ones, my opinion, I don't know if it was a reference, but I took it as one. Because if you are breeding an army and you're trying to create these things, you can't create, so you try to breed different evil aspects into stuff. You would try everything. I believe the ones, especially the ones from The Hobbit, but you see some in the Lord of the Rings too, but mostly the Hobbit version of the orcs, I think they have more troll blood. And what I mean by that is, look at the design of the trolls. They have these bulky right here. Their eyes are their frames are right here, and they come down a little bit more. You know, and their nose they really don't have much of a nose. It comes in. Look at those kind of orcs. Those orcs are very similar to what the trolls look like. And they were almost bigger than some of them. They were bulkier, meaner looking. They could take more abuse than a lot of them could. You know, that's what I'm saying, is I think they had more troll blood in them. They were a different version. I mean, and then you step back and think about it. If you were breeding these different kinds of things, you would do this. You'd be like, okay, I created this. They're pathetic. Let's try something new. You're going to keep trying and breeding different things, trying to create the perfect warrior for your army so you could conquer the Middle Earth. I mean, I have a high respect for Dark Lords and stuff like that. I mean, I'm a weird guy, and I like dark and evil characters more than I like most good characters. For the fact of, I don't know, I just always have. I like the darker characters. I like what they do on certain levels. And what he did makes sense. I mean, yeah, if you go by the books, it's just like they're all orcs and all that. But then you hear, and then there is even mentioned Orcs. Dear Lord, they mentioned Orcs, and even there, and the only thing it means is orc people and stuff like that. But the movies and everything, they took so much liberty, but they did it right. You can see the different kinds of orcs. And you can tell there's just like a class system to them, like the orcs, regular under the Orcs, things like that. I mean, and you would think that when you look at elves and humans and dwarves, which I kind of think are probably goblins, or like their version of a goblin is they bred and created goblins, and pretty much if you notice, Malcor and Sauron just left that alone. They're like, well, this was a failure. These things are not useful, so they left them down there wherever they are. Because you don't see them in their armies or anything. But that's my point is, and that's the opposite of dwarves. Dwarves are very powerful, very strong, very intelligent. Those are kind of opposite of that. But, like I said, you got these elves and humans and dwarves and hobbits, and you kind of see that, I'm not saying it's right, but you kind of see a class system set up. Elves are pretty much at the top of that pier, because they're the graceful, they're most beautiful, they were powerful, they were closer to the Valar and all that. Yes. And then you get like the dwarves and humans and all that, and hobbits and stuff like that. But if you think about it, that fits kind of like towards what the orcs are. I mean, hey! Dear God, I can't even do one video with these animals. But that's what I'm saying is, I see all these orcs and they're so cool. And you can see that they're different in each way. But the Tolkien books and everything never specify. I've done some research, I've read it, and watched other people's videos and everything. I really like different, the Broken Sword videos and Nerd of the Rings. I like those, and they're very good guys. I like listening to them, and you should see them. I put it on my Knowledge is Power video playlist. You guys can look it up. And that's where some of the stuff I listen to and learn from. And I've got other stuff as well. But they both talk about it, and they will tell you that the books and the movies are totally different. And how Tolkien did it, he never specified exactly where everything came from. I mean, they don't explain where the dragons come from 100%. Like, they just... there's only explanations and theories. In my personal theory... Hey! Dear Lord, I can't even do one video with these animals. But my theories with the orcs is that it's all put into the movies. They did it correctly. They made them different kinds of orcs and different species that fits with all the other books and theories. That there's some that are more human-like, more elf-like, and more dwarf-like. You can get these different things. You can't just expect one breed. So you get it all. And then, of course, it's never mentioned, but I think there's a troll breed. Because you look at them, look at this. Just pull up the main dude off the main villains off the Hobbit, the main orcs, and then look at the trolls. You're going to go, there's a lot of similarities in their faces. So that's my opinion on that. And like I said, I really like the orcs. I think, and the biggest problem with, and you can see a difference in them for another reason is, a lot of orcs are, why they served the Dark Lords was out of fear. But the ones who had more power, more to them were the ones who really liked it. They really liked being evil and dark. Those were the more powerful. And usually you saw that with the Orcs. They enjoyed what they were. Regular orcs kind of didn't. They just did because they're like, oh crap, we got someone more powerful that's scaring us. Well, that's my opinion. If y'all have a different opinion, I'm all ears for it. I don't know why my video keeps going light and dark. I haven't figured that out yet. I've been watching it on this here as I'm talking. I've noticed that it keeps going in and out, and it keeps doing that. I've done this video about 2 or 3 times, and it keeps doing the same thing. So I don't know what's causing that. So I apologize right now. But anyway, as I was going to say, next month, February, is my birthday month and my youngest's birthday month. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to have each of my kids, when it's on their month, I'm going to have them tell me a subject, and I'm going to make that their monthly subject. And I'll go off that. Well, my youngest, Cordelia, chose Power Rangers. She's a big fan of Power Rangers. She loves and funny thing, she loves the originals more than the others, which is good for her. And I don't mind it. I like Power Rangers as well. I mean, I don't care. So next month, we're going to be talking about Power Rangers. And the three subjects I'm going to present to y'all to let y'all vote on is one, Lord Zedd, the evil Dark Ranger, Red Ranger. I have a theory behind that, and it's got for years I thought it was just me who had this opinion, but as I've seen things change within the universe of Power Rangers, I think it could fit better now, with my opinion. And then there's the foot soldiers, putties, and all that. I believe what I was going to say, putties, and I think you can call them the greatest but dumbest soldiers they ever were created, in my opinion. I think there was a lot of potential for them, but they were just not utilized correctly. And then there's the third one, which I'm pretty sure you're all going to freaking vote on, is Tommy, the original Green Ranger and the greatest Ranger of all. And I believe he's going to be the next Zordon kind of character. And I'll give you my opinions and reasons on that. And I'm pretty sure that's what you all will vote on, because I've already heard a lot of people are talking about, yeah, that's a good one, and blah, blah, blah. So, yeah, more likely I'll be talking on that, but we'll see. You never know. But, yeah, vote on those three. And I also want to give a shout-out to my youngest, one of my middle kids, one of my oldest kids, Piper. She has her own little thing. It's Piper. It's called Piper and Slytherin or something like that. I'll have it. It's one of my people. I'll have her. She tried to call me out because she has more followers than me. That's fine. I don't care. I just started. I'm pretty sure she's going to have more followers than me since she's had a thing for a while now. And she has more family members that pay attention to her than mine. You know what I'm saying? She's younger, so of course more people want to pay attention to her about her stuff. That's cool. But yeah, she tried to call me out, but my stuff has more knowledgeable stuff. Hers is just dumb stuff. But anyway, exactly. But so I'll see y'all next week, next couple weeks, and we'll talk about whatever y'all vote on. So I guess I'll talk to y'all later. Have a good day.